How will a Trump presidency affect marriage-based adjustment of status applications? Whether you have an application currently pending and it will continue to be pending beyond Inauguration Day, or you're considering applying for a permanent residence based on a marriage in the near future, this video is for you. The first way that I think a lot of applicants will be affected is through the procedure. So the last time Trump was president, he tried to add a bunch of different ways that immigrations can deny an application. He created a whole new form that required applicants to demonstrate that there is a low chance that they might ever become a public charge. But in reality, the form just added substantial complication to the process and created like 20 new ways that an immigration officer can find a way to deny your application. Luckily, the form was only in effect for a couple months before a court shut it down. But if past performance is any indication of what's going to happen in the future, we can assume that he's going to try to implement something like that again. This form required you to list your educational accomplishments, every language you've spoken, any degrees or certifications or job training that you have, what assets you have, what your earning potential is, and it really made the process substantially more difficult. Another way that I think the immigration process will be affected is when an applicant applies for advanced parole. The risk of actually traveling outside of the United States while your green card application is pending will be much higher. So I always tell my clients that yes, we can apply for advanced parole, but I wouldn't just use it to travel outside of the US for a vacation. If you really need to travel and we have an approved advanced parole application, you can travel temporarily for a serious purpose or a real reason. Now, a lot of people ignore me and they just go on vacation with it. And up until now, we haven't had any major problems with it. But the last time Donald Trump was president, some people were actually denied re-entry. And a customs officer can always deny your re-entry on advanced parole. It's always discretionary. It's very unlikely that they're gonna deny your re-entry, but those risks will almost certainly increase during Trump's presidency. The most important way that I think people will be affected by a Trump presidency is the automatic NTA policy that he imposed last time will likely be coming back. What this means is that if a green card application is denied, you will almost automatically receive a notice to appear in immigration court. This is the document that initiates your deportation from the United States. This will only happen if your green card application gets denied, and if the policies this time around are anything like the policies he had last time around. Even if your green card is just denied because of a technicality, let me give you an example. Let's say USCIS issues a request for evidence and gives you some time to respond with a copy of your birth certificate because you failed to submit it, or you failed to submit an acceptable translation of it, or you did submit it and USCIS just lost it or something. And let's say that request for evidence gets lost in the mail and you never receive it, and then 90 days later or something, you receive a denial decision in the mail. Ordinarily, I would just say, not a huge deal. You'll lose your filing fees, but we can refile immediately and submit the correct documents, and that will be the end of it. We'll end up getting approved this time around. Under Trump's policies, there's a good chance that case will now end up in deportation proceedings. And now you'll need an immigration lawyer to defend you from removal from the United States. Ultimately, we might be able to reapply for adjustment of status in front of a judge, but it will almost certainly cost you way more, maybe like 4 times more than it would have otherwise. And it's going to be a really stressful process, and what may have been a 1-year process might end up being like a 4-year process. So generally speaking, I will continue to apply for adjustment of status, assuming there aren't any other major changes that make the risk substantially higher. But if there's like a 20% chance that your green card application might get denied because of some issue in your history, then we might want to have a discussion about the pros and cons of applying now versus applying 4 years from now. All right, guys, so those are just 3 of the changes that I think Trump will implement pretty quickly after he's inaugurated. If you're interested in the most recent updates and news and changes to immigration policy, be sure to subscribe. I put out a video on a weekly basis. If you plan on marrying soon or you're going through the marriage-based adjustment of status process now, these are actually the cases that I enjoy the most and that I try to focus most of my practice on. So I would love it if you schedule a consultation and allowed me to help you with your case. I'll see you guys next week for another one.